I joined cheer in 2019 and I joined mainly because of a friend.
Before cheerleading, I was very much of an introvert.
So before discovering cheerleading, I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself.
But when I came into the team, I realized that it wasn't just about my relationship with her, but it was about meeting 19 other people and creating those sorts of bonds with each and every one of them.
However, after several years of cheerleading, I'm leaning more towards the extroverted side.
I've been able to apply this in other aspects, like I'm in a different class, but I'm still able to adapt well to my new teachers and my new classmates especially.
The word I'd use to describe how we were all feeling would be demotivated. Personally, I really felt like quitting at one point, but because of my friends, I didn't. The thought of quitting cheer would be like quitting on them and not being able to do the sport I love with the people I love.
Well, personally, I find it a little bit tough throughout the pandemic, but I think that cheer has been a constant throughout it all. Cheer used to be about being physically together and trusting one another to bring a son up, but now we're all doing things on our own and it's definitely different.
I mean, my teammates started skipping a few trainings because it wasn't really enjoyable for them. I felt the same way as they did because I personally was one of those who skipped a few trainings.
The current competition we're training for is a dance competition, and a lot of girls feel that dance isn't something that they're good at or they like doing. They may feel disheartened and that they're not good enough, or they're doing something that they don't like.
One of the biggest problems was our motivation to go for trainings. I really tried to push myself for trainings because sometimes trainings were after school. So during classes, I kept reminding myself like, oh my god, I cannot lie on my bed, because I wouldn't want to go for trainings at all. I talked to my dad, I talked to my friends about it, and really I've learned that a lot of us are feeling the same way.
I feel that cheer has done a lot for me as an individual, and I've grown a lot because of the cheer community. So when it was going through a tough time, and it is going through a tough time now in the pandemic, I feel I cannot give up on it because it never gave up on me.
The one cheer memory that stands out the most for me is when my teammates were locked out of our school gym, so we went to the school courtyard to train instead. And for some reason, our coach wasn't there yet, so our captains were busy arranging the motions for our routine at the side, while the rest of my teammates just started blasting music, and we were all just singing along really loudly. So it was a really wholesome experience, and it makes me miss my friends a lot.
One of the strongest memories that I have is before we walk onto that blue mat, we stand in the circle at the corner and our entire team is there, and that's when you can see that everyone is going through a big mixture of ups and downs. Some of them are nervous, some of them are on the verge of crying.
Particular cheer memory that stood out for me was a competition in Singapore a couple of years ago, and our coach sat us down in a large circle and he told us that we had to share our negative emotions with one another. If we had an issue with someone, we had to tell them there and then. So at first everyone was confused because it's not something that many people do, but he told us that in order for us to build a bond that no one else can touch, and it's something that we will have for ourselves, we had to do this and we had to work through our issues together in order to grow stronger.
When I learned that things don't necessarily stay bad, that piece of advice kept me going, because whenever I faced anything challenging, I knew that it wasn't going to last and that I was going to get through it.
Time has not stopped and everything comes to an end eventually. This pandemic will end, and when it does end, you'll be expected to continue on with life as usual.
My dad really kept me going. He always says things and tells me that, when are you going to have this time again to do whatever you want to do? Once the pandemic is over, after I graduate maybe, I won't be able to have virtual trainings. I won't be able to have so much time to improve myself. Motivation is a really big issue, but as long as you make sure that you're staying on track and that you're still improving yourself, little steps you're taking are still steps.
I'd like to thank my teammates for being the people they are and for being so strong to go through their lives in this pandemic, and we still have that bond and everyone's working for that bond to stay connected, and that connection is something that we will have for the rest of our secondary school lives.
I would like to say thank you to my teammate and also my best friend Sonia, because whenever I was really going through a challenging time, whether it be with cheer or school or exams or anything, she would always be the one who encourages me and listens whenever I just need to vent.
I really want to thank the group of friends that I stayed connected with. They're also from cheer, and so we really understand each other. They really kept me sane throughout the pandemic, and really sometimes when I don't know what I'm doing, but staying in contact with them really helps me go on with my little task and my motivation too, because I see them in cheer that I'm like, oh, you're still holding on to it, and yeah, I should hold on too.